Welcome back, everybody, to the Insightful Podcast. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. Today, I'm joined by a special guest, Cam. Cam, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Good. I'm excited to finally make this podcast happen, and I know it's going to be a great episode.
I hope it is.
For sure. So I like getting like straight into it, bro. So my first question is, can you just like introduce yourself to the audience and kind of explain who you are and what you do?
All right. So name's Cjak, but that's not actually my real name. My real name is Cameron, but you guys can just call me Cam. Cjak is just an abbreviation of my entire name. I'm not gonna throw out my entire name like that because I still have like some personal paranoias, I guess you could say. Even though it's all public information, but there's just certain things that just like I don't really want to talk about sometimes. But yeah, I've been going to the gym now for about five, going on, yeah, five years now. I've competed like 4 or 5 times now. I got my pro card in OCB, and now I am trying to get my pro card in IFBB. Well, eventually get to the IFBB stage, and then I'd like to be an Olympian. I feel like that'd be pretty cool and just an experience that I think would be great for not only me, but just everybody that's been supporting me along this journey. To get to that stage, in my honest opinion, would mean more than the event itself. Throughout my life, I've always held a close bond to the people close to me. And ever since I like went on this path to try my hand with social media and giving my effort in bodybuilding to still have the same group of people supporting me since the first day and them still being here to now. If I can achieve my dreams, to me, just the achieving like the achievement of even getting to that point will hold more weight for me, for my family and like my close ones, than it will for me, because in all honesty, like the position that I'm in now, I wouldn't have made it if it wasn't for them. So to make it to like my very end would mean a lot to me, really. And I think honestly, that's what keeps me going the most, is just the idea of bringing like this smile to everybody off of just who I am. Like I don't know. It's hard for me to talk about because like I see it in such a complex way, and
Hmm.
I can't simplify the way that I see it. Like it's just so amazing to think about sometimes that like a lot of times I do get really emotional. Like some nights like I'll stay up like responding to comments or messages on TikTok and Instagram, and I'm listening to a bunch of stories from all these people all over the world, and it's like they're all telling me like my content is very inspirational, like I'm their inspiration, or like they admire me or something along the lines of like that aspect. And like it'll process with me, and I all I can do is just sit there. Like I can't, it gets so much, like I get so emotionally overwhelmed with like just positive like feelings and energy from like everyone, to where like I get really emotional. I start crying because it's like, dude, like it just feels like just yesterday I was crying in my mom's arms, like trying to figure out my life and what I was gonna do, because like I had just left college, like I dropped out of college, and then I wasn't gonna go into the military because I just grew up 20 years in the military with my parents being in. So then it's
Mm.
like, what pathway am I gonna pick that's gonna not only satisfy me, but like my family and my friends and like all that, like what's gonna satisfy them too? And to be honest, like I have like this ongoing like internal conflict with that, because I have a hard time distinguishing like taking the time and doing what it is that I want to do and what I love, versus taking the time to do what I can for the people that I love and like what they love and what they want to do. Like I've always been like that kind of person. So like when social media got integrated and now I'm weighing in other people's like stresses and like what's bothering them and like their trauma. Like like all that gets weight on me too because of the kind of person that I am. Like I'm always gonna bear that weight for somebody because I also want them to be able to feel like that same sense of peace and comfort in talking to someone. So like if you present me your problems, like I'm gonna try to, bear that myself so that in some way, like it'll feel like that weight is off of your shoulders. Now, the only con to that is like it gets heavy. Like,
I can imagine. Yeah.
yeah, like it does get a bit much. Like sometimes I have to just get off of social media because like there's only so many stories that you can listen to, and there's only so many people that you can help, and like all these different things before it starts taking a toll on you. And when I got into social media, I never really like weighed that option. So like when it really started picking up and it got really, really hectic, I went from like talking to like I think the most amount of people that I've like tried to talk to in a day was like 30 people. And
Damn.
I tried to do that for like as long as I could, but then like 2 weeks later, I got burnt out, like just completely. And it wasn't like because I didn't want to talk to anybody anymore or anything like that. Like I didn't want to help. It was just like I have this issue where I'll prioritize like everybody else's problems before my own problems or like my own issues. So I'm sitting here trying to help all these people and I'm forgetting about myself. So now like everything that's happening in my life is now starting to weigh a bit more than what's going on the outside. So then like that balance gets thrown off. And then like for me, I never know what to do because it's like I want to prioritize me, but at the same time, I care so much about other people's feelings. I don't want other people to feel like I'm not prioritizing them. So now
Yeah.
I'm in like this back and forth between do I help others or do I help myself? Because like I know like I have to make a choice and I know at some point I'll be able to do both. But like in this current moment in my life, that's just not attainable. Like in every young man's life, I think like you'll be on the path for a career or a sport or anything like that. And there will be a moment where you'll have to be given like a choice to choose like what it is that you want to do or having to provide for somebody else. And I feel like there's a lot of people like me that have like this issue of not being able to choose correctly. Like because you want to prioritize both. You want to give your energy to both. So like with that issue going on, it causes like this, I don't even know how to like describe it, but this discomfort for everything. Like I get really irritated and frustrated and just like all these like negative things because of like this imbalance that I have within myself. So then that's where like the content comes in. So the videos that I post is my way of balancing all of this. The content that I choose to post, like the audios, the way I edit it, the clips that I use, the way I perceive my videos, this form of content balances out like this struggle that like this internal struggle that I was just describing. Like it
Yeah.
it expresses the current feeling in that moment. And I don't have I won't say I won't have the capability, but I don't have the confidence in my capability to properly articulate my feelings verbally.
Let's take a quick break to speak about the sponsor for the podcast. I am now working with a company called Attilius Apparel, and if you want Christian fitness wear that looks like this, or this, click the link in the description. Now let's get back into the podcast.
So, with that being said, I try to express myself through video or through pictures, something of that nature. And a lot of times like it'll get misinterpreted. I remember once I had like written a poem and I had posted this poem. Uh, and connects to like a posing video that I did outside. And it's kind of on me. Like I understood like what I was talking about, but what I forgot is like how other people would interpret it.
Mm-hmm.
I had written this poem and I don't have any like religious ties or anything like that. Um, it was just my poem. And like, cause there's a lot of historical figures, in our life, that I find a lot of interest in their story and like how they're depicted to us. So in this poem, I had used the term the fallen angel. And now with that, everybody oftentimes takes that to religion and assumes that I'm talking about Satan, Lucifer. And while the fallen angel shares that same name, in the context that I was using that term was not following the same path of what people think. And it caused like this misinterpretation. I think there was like almost like 600 comments on that video. That video blew up. I think it got like a million views possibly. But just like that, that misinterpretation of like what I wrote and then watching my video versus what I wrote versus what how like people are receiving it, it kind of like fucked me up because like okay, I see it this way, my poem's written this way, but people are seeing both of these things another way. How do you
Yeah.
deal with that? So it's like I had to find a way to balance what I see, what I write, and what I want other people to see and how they perceive it. And then that's how like I started making like the edits that I do. Like just with like most recently I just did an edit with a Deftones song called Entombed. And that edit actually I was really insecure about it because it was very like out the norm of what I would usually post. But I've also been like practicing on my skills with editing and like how to tell a better like storytelling within video, like just that whole aspect of everything. I've been trying to get better. So that edit was like my first attempt of showing what I've been working on. And like before anything like giving a presentation or anything like that, you get that little bit of it like anxiety and
Yeah.
nervousness. So like I'm sitting there, like I have the draft right there on TikTok and all I got to do is click post. It takes me like 30 minutes to even hit that button because of like that self-doubt. But with that, like even though I was doubting myself, and this is where I have a lot of love and respect for my like my community because like the things that I post that bring me a lot of anxiety because I'm not confident in, a lot of times my following will find a lot of like they find like a lot of I don't want to say motivation. I guess we can just use inspiration. But they give me a lot of confidence when it comes to my posting. Like when I made that post, it did really well. And like my community just showed me so much love. And it's like when I experience stuff like that, it makes me want to do even more, like experiment even more, like just ascend myself even further just to see like what can I really do with this? So I just realized like I ran on a real tangent. I don't even remember
That's
what your
okay, bro. That's
question
okay, bro.
was.
Because off of everything you were just speaking about, I actually have a lot of questions that just came to mind. So,
Okay.
like, the first one is that why do you feel that you're kind of able to spend a day, talk to 30 people, and try to hear their story, try to help them out, when there's like other creators that would never take that time in their day? Have you always been someone like that that always tries to help people, or was it like developed over time?
That's a wow, that was a good question. Um, I've actually been like that like for the majority of my life. It didn't really start picking up until until I experienced like my first real breakup. And the reason why I say that is because when it came to like dating, well, just relationships, friendships in general, I personally cannot deal with that feeling of guilt when the time comes for you guys to separate. And it's you that's the one that's, creating that separation. Like it's you that has to end things. So like I had a hard time breaking up with girls. Like I would just wait until they broke up with me. Like that's where that kind of stems from. So in the way I was like the way I was brought up in school, being a military kid and moving all the time, like making friends, it didn't really like interest me like that. I mean, I wanted to make friends because obviously like as a young kid you're going to want friends. Like there's no way you don't want friends. But I didn't really make friends like that. But when I would make friends, like they were genuine people, and it would make me want to help. Like even though like certain situations, like I don't even know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm gonna still
Yeah.
try and help. Like there was just certain things like I had no clue what was going on, but I still would try and give that effort to help because like there was moments like in my life where like my dad was gone a lot due to deployments, and all I had was my mom and my sister. But like the things that I was going through in my life, like that called for like a father's perspective or
Mm-hmm.
something of that nature. And I didn't have a phone at the time. So like when I was going through everything and he was gone, I didn't really have like any way to contact him. So like I would go to my mom, and there's only so much that my mom can do while also dealing with my other siblings. So it's like I didn't want to bring any more stress to my mom than she already has. So there was a point in my life where it was just me, and it was it was a weird moment because like I knew why all this was going on, but I didn't understand why this was going on. Like I was very angry with my dad for the longest because every time that he would deploy right before a crucial moment in my life.
Mm.
So it felt like this man was just leaving at his like quickest convenience, and I was getting pissed off at it. But in reality, he was providing for my family. And like I can say that now because I'm older and like I've experienced what he's had to experience now. So it all makes sense. But like at that time,
It
it
was hard
didn't.
to understand. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was very hard to understand. Nothing really made sense to me. So like my come up, like I don't like saying this because like it sounds really corny, but it's true. But like I was just a very angry kid at that time, and I dated this girl, mm, like my senior year of high school, and then I ended up going to the same college as her, and then we broke up. But like that breakup, uh, I feel like it really woke me up as a person, especially as like a young man, like coming into his own, just trying to figure himself out. That breakup kind of like that's the breakup that really got me here because when my dad was home and that moment was going on, he was working night shifts on base and I was on campus, and my campus was like 15 minutes from my house. So like my dad, he would just get off of work and come get me, and we'd be at the gym at like midnight or something like that until like from like midnight to like 2, 3 o'clock, and then he'd take me to like McDonald's, and then he'd drop me back off at campus. But like those training sessions weren't even training sessions. It was really like just like like just an emotional release. Like there was a lot of sessions where I wasn't even training. I was just crying, like just sitting in front of my dad, like how you and I are right now. And I was just crying, just like telling him, because like I had never really had the opportunity to just sit in front of my dad and just cry about something. And since he was finally home, like, and I had that chance to, it was, I don't know, like, I think like in that phase in my life, like that's when I kind of like realized what it is that I wanted to do. because one thing I realized is that I never wanted to feel this feeling again, and I didn't want someone else to have to feel this feeling, because that feeling that I had because of that breakup like had me try against my life and everything like that. And it was just a very dark time. So because of that dark time and after that breakup, like I spent a lot of time by myself. I mean, there's a couple here and there's, but mainly it was just me trying to figure out who I was. And it got to a point where like everything was good, everything was fine. And then I started dating another person. And then this person really set the tone and started making things like really make sense for me. So after that happened, like once that relationship was done and was broken up, I would tell that story, but that one's still like kind of fresh. So I'm still waiting
Fair
for that one
enough.
to like heal up a little bit. But after that one had ended, I kind of uh I kind of took a step back and looked at myself, and I was trying to figure out like why I keep experiencing these things with these kinds of people. And then I'm not trying to say like they're bad people, because at one point I did love them and everything like that. So I'm not saying that. But I just didn't understand why I kept ending up in the same situation over and over and over. So then I'm looking back on like my past actions, and I'm basically like making a stat sheet of myself, and I'm going through the numbers trying to figure out like where am I fucking up. And the most common denominator was me every time. Um, just the person that I was, my character, like everything like that. It's those key traits about yourself that is going to show you what kind of partner you can expect. Like based off of your actions right now, you can kind of predict who you'll end up with and how they'll end up treating you. And so when I started looking at stuff like that, I was like, damn, I'm kind of a shitty person. And and that was just me being mean. I know I'm not a shitty person, but like I know I can have my moments. So
Hmm.
when all that subsided and that breakup ended and I was on this self journey to being a better person, I realized that like the thing that I was searching for in other people, I know I could provide for others and myself. So like when it came to like, excuse me, when it came to like relationships, I wasn't really like looking for, the run of the mill like relationship. I was really just looking for a companion, like um just like that support and that equal level of passion for like your career, whatever hobby that you have, or something like that. Like that's what I was looking for. And I also wanted someone to help me in the sense of helping me like understand who I am, because like you'll come across certain people in life and it's crazy to think about, but there's certain people in life that you'll come across and they're only there for that moment. And these
Yeah.
kinds of people, I believe, are 100% like sent to you to help build your character. Because it's like I've met and I still think about these people to this day, but I've met so many people that have just changed my perspective on so many different aspects of myself, to where it's like, damn, like I wish that person was still like around, like in my life, but they're not. And it's really fucked up, but I just that's the type of person that I wanted to be. I wanted to be one of those people that just just comes along in somebody's life and is able to help them figure something out in that moment that, can exponentially grow into something insane. That's something like I've always wanted to be able to do. And without even any credits involved, like I didn't want the recognition for it or anything, because like I know like I did it. That's enough for me. And if that person knows too, that's even more for me. But I never wanted to help people for the sake of growing my
Recognition.
name. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want it. I didn't want it for any of that, because now is it really help if that's what you're looking for? It's not. If anything, it's just another transaction. So when it came back down to social media, and I started to realize like people were liking my videos, and then the messages started rolling in, and I was just like, wow, like I have a really good thing going on. I wonder I wonder if this is like for everybody. Like I wonder like if every influencer does this. And then reality showed itself to me, and I realized that not every influencer is like that. Um I started meeting I was starting to travel and, meet other influencers and stuff like that. And, I started to see the truth about this industry and like how people move. And I just couldn't get behind that. I'm more for my community than I am for the monetary gain because I know money's always gonna be around. It's always gonna be around. Money's always gonna be made, and there's always a way for money to be made. But what I do know is that not everybody is gonna be around the same as money is. So what's more valuable to me is being able to impact somebody's life in the manner to which they can continue on and strive for the things that they want without having any self-doubt, like without having the lack of confidence to do so. But if I can play that role and help people build that, I'll take that any day. So I think I've I would say I've built this, but it started out as something that I was already like I've inherited from my dad and my mom. But I'll definitely say like helping people is more so just a natural thing. It's not something that's motivated by money or anything like that. I don't understand why like my friends on social media, like they're just like me, like they answer messages, help people, that's their. But then there's other people on social media that help people, but there's a dollar sign that follows right behind it. So it's like, okay, like are you actually helping or are you just doing just enough to get a check? But yeah, I think for me, helping has always just been a natural thing. I don't know
Yeah,
why other influencers don't do that. They develop much stronger communities if they did that, but I don't really like to talk much on other people's stuff, so.
for sure. I guess not going into details, but I guess once you started to see your account grow and you start to meet other influencers, did you have higher expectations for who they were as people, or you didn't have any at all?
Um, I don't really have expectations for people, especially not on social media. With everything being so artificial, it's hard to have a real expectation of someone. But I will say, I did meet one person that absolutely like kind of like I didn't have an expectation of who they were, but it's just not what I I wasn't really I just didn't know, honestly. But most recently, I went out to LA and I hung out with Shizzy.
Oh,
And that
nice.
was and that was pretty cool. Like he's a really dope guy. I remember me and my boy were there and Xavier, Aki Blasian. We were there and Shizzy was there and his brother was there too. And we're just sitting there just talking like just regular people. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm just having a regular person's conversation. That's all I really wanted. Like I didn't want to sit there and talk about bodybuilding the whole time. Like as much as I love bodybuilding, I'm gonna be so honest, I hate talking about it. I just don't like talking about it. But like he made us food, like we worked out in his garage gym. Like he was just a really nice guy. And like I got a picture with him and everything like that. And I don't even when it comes to like other influencers, like I don't have like that ability to like fangirl. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like if I saw a celebrity like walking down my street, like honestly, all I can say is like, holy shit, that's so and so. But I can't bring myself to just like run up to somebody, yo, can I get a picture with you? Like I can't do that for some reason. Um, so like when I was hanging out with him, it didn't feel like I was hanging out with like one of the top influencers in the fitness industry. when I was hanging out with him, it just felt like I was hanging out with like another one of my friends. And I feel like that was a very crucial moment, especially for me to experience with him, because it was like at that time he was getting a lot of flack for like, you know, the whole not natty, this, that, and the third. And just a whole bunch of just unnecessary like negativity being brought to him. So when I hung out with him and we smoked and everything like that, and he was just so genuine, just like a good dude, it kind of like it kind of fucked me up because I just wasn't used to that. Um, because I did have like my own kind of like preconceived notions of the fitness industry. Like I kind of already knew like, okay, the majority of the people in this industry are kind of assholes. Like most of them are dickheads. Most of them are just going to use me for my name. That like just all that. I already kind of knew that. But when it came to like meeting him, I didn't get like that feeling that I
That you
initially,
usually got.
yeah, like I didn't get that. So I was like, oh, this is dope because it's like, oh shit, he's a real person. Like there's not like I can't shit on him like for anything. And it's not even that he's my friend. It's just like although I only hung out with him one time, like just in that one moment, like you can learn a lot in one moment. And I understood like he's been through a lot and it shows like in everything that he does. And I could just tell that he was a good dude. When I met Corey Perkins in Nashville, like I was a little awkward because he's a little bit older than me. Because I'm 22, and yeah, I'll just say he's a little bit older than me. But I didn't expect like someone from an older generation to find interest in like what I do.
True.
And so like when I met him and did the podcast with him, like everything felt right. Like everything was cool. When I went up to Pittsburgh and hung out with Seth Feroce at Axe and Sledge Supplements, just talking to him. I'm talking to one of the guys, one of the biggest guys in bodybuilding.
Yeah, that was sick.
Hit,
I seen that.
like his name is known in this sport. And here I am hanging out with him at his own facility. And the things that he told me that day, like how it makes him happy to see guys like me, Anton, just the recent pickups that he got for Action Sledge, like the younger generation. He had told us like to see people like us doing the things that we do for the reasons that we do. He really enjoys it and he's like proud of it. And I'm not gonna lie, like I almost started tearing up because it was like for the longest time in my life, I had never thought like somebody would notice the things I do to this extent to where they can say that they're proud of me without even knowing who I am, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
Yeah, I
Like,
get that.
so like to feel that, because at the end of the day, like, although Seth was like, he is my boss and like my sponsor and everything like that, but if he wasn't, to me, like he would just be another random passerby. So like when I process it like that, and for him to say the things that he said to me, like it just, I don't know, it gives me so much more drive for everything because like if I'm getting support and love from people like this, damn, what's gonna happen in 5 years? What's gonna happen in 10 years? Like the possibilities are limitless. And it's just like I don't know. I love that chase. For some reason it just it's really fun. I can't describe it what it feels like for me. I wouldn't say it's like adrenaline, but hmm, I don't know. Like, you ever been in the flow state?
Yes.
Okay. So it's like that, but for an extended, like it goes over a period like of days.
Mm.
Like I'll reach a point where like I'll get, it's like I charge up. It sounds so corny for me to say, but like with all the love and support that I get, like it really does charge me up. And I reach this point where like I can't not fuck up. Like I'll be dialed in like with posting the videos, editing the videos, bodybuilding, the brand work, my own personal work, managing my family life, managing my life with my friends, like all this stuff like just flows correctly. And in the moments where I'm like getting all this love and support, I'm not saying it's like some superpower, but it's like a power on top of the power. So like when I receive all this love, it's just like it just makes me so happy and I get just so overwhelmed with joy to where I just want to keep going and just keep doing more and more and more until I like have it all. I tell my friends all the time, like I told them that I wanted to take over like every aspect of the fitness industry. Um, so right now I'm just focusing on like the video aspect. Uh, but at some point I want to try and, go after everything because why not? You know? Again, I don't even remember the original question. I just keep
Dude, it's fine, bro. I like what we're talking about in the direction it's going.
Okay, cool.
Um, yeah, my next question was, oh, what was it? It was okay. This is what I want to ask because clearly, like based off of what you're saying, you kind of have a fire inside of you now to do what you do on a day to day
Mm.
basis. So I want you to compare how you wake up now to how you woke up before all of this happened in your life. Like, how does it feel now to wake up and have a purpose, all these things compared to before? Because I feel like a lot of people listening might be lost and they're trying to discover their purpose just like you have found yours.
So the way my purpose came about, people, well, when people ask me that question, the first thing that I tell them is that you'll find your purpose within your passion. So, what are you passionate about? So I'm sitting on the edge of my bed and it's like, I just like working out. So, okay, I like working out. How can I expand upon working out to where it benefits me even more? Start posting. I start posting just regular training videos. How can I expand on that? All right, well now there's edits now that I'm putting out. There's posing videos that I'm putting out now. Then it just extended to posting longer formatted videos, YouTube, of the same thing that I was posting on TikTok. And I expanded on that. It's like, oh shit, I'm only posting on TikTok and YouTube. So now I start posting on Instagram. Like, and it all started with the fact that I was passionate of just working out.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that and then I took my own moral passions, which is helping people. How can I work out and help people at the same time? So, all right. So then it started turning into me opening up. So it was like the training clips with the softer audios, and that's when I started writing the captions and kind of expressing my emotional state at that moment. And that's when everything started clicking because after I started doing that, like people found it more and more relatable and more understandable that I started gaining traction from it. And when I realized that and I realized I was doing a good thing, here I am now, just still doing the same thing. Um, Still trying to find more ways to improve. And I don't know, I've always found that like there's always much more. There's always a further. So like
Mm-hmm.
I got pretty stagnant with like the way I was posting my videos because I was only posting like two different types of videos. And then I was like, nah, at some point people are gonna be like, this just isn't it anymore. So what am I gonna do now? So I had to find a new way of doing what I do, but while also evolving on my creativity process. So then it turned into me and my boy smoking, watching random animes. And I'm just listening to the voice lines. We're watching in like dubs or whatever. And I'll hear a voice line and I'm like, damn, that's hard. So then I'll find that voice line like on TikTok or something like that. And then there'll be like a corresponding audio to it. And then it's like, okay, how can I build off of this? So then I would take like my clips from YouTube and then I would take clips off of like my phone and I'd mash them up all together. Like I'd make the clips line up with the beats and whatever audio that I was using. And then I would use overlays, like different filters. Like I was doing all these things just to make a 30-second video. But that 30 seconds of me just doing what I thought was right reached out to like 40,000 people. So it's like the 30 seconds got you to people, 30, 40,000 people.
Yeah.
When you think about it like that, it's kind of crazy. Like I spent all this time working just for 30 seconds, but it has an outreach of this. Ah, shit. Well, I'm gonna just keep doing it. Cause it's like the way I saw it, if this video helps somebody, then the next video will help somebody. And it just kept going, going, going. And I just kept staying true to who I was, and I kept trying to stay like authentic. But back then, not having like a path or a real route for myself and like what it is that I wanted to do, when I would wake up and sit on the edge of my bed, I'm just 1,000 yards staring into the wall because it's like, damn, I gotta go to work. And that was it. That's all I was doing. I was just going to work. And OG, like TikTok followers know this, but like I used to be at work just like posting in the back room of like me just posing or whatever. It was like a series called Bored at Work, and I would just be at work just posing in the back room because I didn't have any customers because I was working at GNC at the time. But yeah, I was just doing stuff like that, doing lat spreads and like business shirts at my physical therapy job, just doing random shit. But I wasn't really doing anything for my life at that time. I was just working at GNC and I was kind of going to school here and there. But waking up back then, I didn't even want to wake up. I just wanted to stay in bed. I didn't want to do anything. Um but when all of this started happening, like I have reason to get out of the bed now. Like
Yeah.
I have a real reason to get out the bed. Um and the fact that I do have a real reason now, I think that's why I keep waking up, honestly. Cause like, I don't know, each day that goes by and I don't post, I feel like I missed out on helping someone that needed it. So I try to post as much as I can, even though I get burnt out, but I still try my best to post something for at least someone so that it'll resonate at least with. I I don't really even post for the views or like the likes or anything like that. I just know like with the content that I make, I know somebody will find it relatable and it might help them. And all I'm doing right now is just taking my chances with that. Like it might help somebody. And I'm just trying to be more optimistic, assuming that it is going to help somebody. But the way I wake up now versus how I did then, two completely different things. And I 100% prefer to wake up the way I do now than I did then. So,
100%. All right, bro. When you were, I guess, waking up back then and very like directionless and all these things, did you ever like believe that you would be in the position you are today? Maybe you
nope,
did not at all.
nope.
So you
I did
didn't
not
believe
know.
you'd be in this position, but maybe doing a different thing, or you just had no idea where you would be now.
At that time, I didn't know I was going to be doing this. Uh, I thought I was just going to be like a lifetime like personal trainer and having to live like that kind of life. That's what I thought my life was about to be. Then this just happened like at random. And even right now, I still don't like being on a podcast still doesn't feel real. Waking up to messages with people telling me like them qualifying for nationals for like state lifting or like stuff like that. Just waking up and getting messages like that. And at the end of their message, it's because of you. Like, I don't, I don't know. Like, that's hard. I can't even process that sometimes. Like, and it's messages like that that make me real emotional because like I never expected to have an impact like this. So to have an impact like this, it's uncanny. Like I don't know how to process it. Like it's unreal. And I think like even when I meet some of my followers, like my hands get to shaking, like I start breaking up my words. Like, I get so nervous because like I didn't even know. Like I did not know my videos had an impact on you like that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you tell me, and I don't even know who you are, no disrespect, but when I don't even know who you are, and you're telling me that because of what I post and what I talk about and what I do, it helps you reach a certain point in your life to where you're happy, that's just gonna make me cry because like I don't know you. but I have that outreach to you to where it inspires you to do more and push yourself further. And that's all I really
Exactly.
wanted. Like that's all I've ever wanted for anybody. Whenever I meet people, that's all I want them to feel is like that, to have that confidence to strive for whatever it is that they want. So I don't know. Wait, I think my phone's about to die. Hold on.
Awesome, bro.
But yeah.
So is yeah, go ahead, bro. Finish up.
Oh
Sorry.
no, I was done.
Okay. I was just gonna ask, like, since like we kind of talked about how you got to the point where you are today,
Hmm.
is there anything that you're trying to achieve this year? Is there anything that you're really hopeful for your future? I know you mentioned competing and getting to the Olympia stage, but is there anything else, I guess, more personal, like something personal
Um,
that you would like to share?
I mean, obviously the Olympia, that's gonna be that's a longevity thing. So that'll be later down the line. For this year, honestly, the biggest thing that I'm shooting for is just more growth on YouTube. And I guess another personal thing is getting my dream car. I'm not gonna mention what my dream car is or what the car that I'm looking at. I kind of want to leave that as a surprise, but that's my biggest goal for this year is getting that car. And then
Awesome, bro.
I would like to finally get out of Delaware and go move somewhere else. I don't really know where I want to move, but I would just like to be out of here and get started on my own adult life, I guess you could say,
For sure.
outside of
I
my
guess
my
if
home.
you've been traveling a lot, right? So is that kind of a big reason why you want to move now? Because like seeing
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. I saw the world, and I realized like how much of the world I'm missing out on because I'm still here in Delaware. But uh another thing that came with traveling is just like I don't know. You see so much when you're stuck in one spot for so long. So like the moment that you get out and you see everything and everything, it's like, dude, I never want to come home. And that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of going like that's what I go through every time I get home from a trip. It's like, damn. You can't show me the world and then gonna take me back to a shoebox, bro. Like that's not how
Yeah,
it works. So that's the only like negative that I have with traveling. Is just coming home. But with traveling, yeah, it definitely showed me that I want to move. I want to be able to just go do stuff, like experience things like just at random, like whenever I want to, like truly experiencing like that free will, so to speak, like just doing whatever. That's what I I really look forward to, if I'm being honest. But yeah,
for sure. That's just the best life to live, bro. I feel like when you're able to just like get up and go somewhere where you want to go, that's
yeah,
like that's like true life, bro, because you just experience anything at any time.
mm-hmm, absolutely. Like I went on a trip to San Diego and we went out to like these sand dunes. And like when we got there, to me, like it was a pretty heavy moment because it was just like, damn, I was just in
Mm-hmm.
Delaware and now I'm in San Diego with all my friends with a bunch of ATVs around and we're about to just go rip through the sand dunes. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool. Like there's just certain things that I experienced like from social media that just opens up my eyes to so many different things. And one of those things is just being more present in the moment. Cause like when I travel, I often get too far into my head because when I'm traveling, it's because I'm going to meet somebody. And I'm like, all right, well, I hope this person likes me for who I am because I'm not about to change shit for nobody. But
yeah,
at the same time, I still get that level of anxiety because I do want that person to like me whether I admit that or not, um, I'm still gonna attempt at that. And the only reason why I want that person to like me is because I feel like although you may not like someone, there's still something that you can learn from that person. Like there's something about
exactly.
them that can be crucial to your own life, whether it's good or bad. Like, and when I say like learn something about them, not necessarily like get to know that person, but get to know that type of person, if that makes sense. Because if you experience a type of person, you'll know how to recognize them outside of what you're used to. So,
Yeah,
so like when it came to traveling, like
Um, like there's, I don't know. I don't like talking shit, but in Delaware, there's just a certain like manner of people out here that just I don't know. There's a huge level of entitlement. So I like learned how to pick up on that. When it came to traveling around and meeting people, like the first thing I saw was well, the first thing that I started looking for was like who's entitled and who's not. Like when I would meet other influencers, I'm like, okay, who's entitled to their name and who can actually just be like a regular person. And I was
Yeah.
seeing that, like I saw stuff like that, and I was learning things like that a lot when it came to traveling. So that's probably like the biggest reason as to why I travel is because I want to see different types of people. Like I want to learn from more. And I think that's one of the qualities of myself that I will personally um show love to is like I always want to learn more about something or someone whatever it may be. But so like when it came to traveling and going across the world and meet people, getting messages from people from all over the world, and I'm meeting all these different types of people, I feel like that was like the best time of my life because I don't know. I feel like people undermine information so much, um, especially when it comes to like people because like the more you learn about people, the more you'll end up learning about yourself, and you can apply
Yes.
that to your everyday life to become even better as a person. Like if you're surrounded by negative people all the time, you can learn from them and understand how to be a good person rather than a bad person, and vice versa too. Like this, the same way I'm talking positively about this subject can be talked about negatively in the same
Yeah.
sense. So it's like it all depends on like which route you decide to choose. But when it came to traveling and meet people, the first thing that I would always try to do is trying to learn what kind of person they are, and that just helps me as I continue to network with other influencers, businesses, stuff like that. Because I know what type of person I am, and I know what type of person like I can work with. So that's why like I try to travel as much as I can, as frequently as I can as well. But yeah.
I agree, bro. I think there's so much growth with like experiencing new environments and
Hmm.
new people. If you kind of just close yourself off and do the same routine over and over again,
Yeah.
there's really not much growth.
Yeah. No, normally people, I mean, I'm not even going to say people because I'm included in this. I mean, oftentimes we find ourselves falling into the same cycles of everyday life. You wake up, shower, brush teeth, all that, go to work, go on lunch, doom scroll on your phone for a little bit, go back to work. You come home, eat, maybe go to the gym, maybe not. Hop on the game, go to bed. Same cycle
Yeah,
repeats for months on end. How do we expect to grow from that?
exactly.
So, like honestly, I ain't even trying to sound like I'm above anybody or anything like that. But like I barely play the game anymore. I can't even play online because like I just don't have like the mental fortitude to handle like game chat and everything like that. Like I don't know. I'm just too competitive. So like if my team is shit and if I'm also performing shit, it's not gonna be a good time. So I just play like a lot of
Yeah.
single player games now.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, bro. I was always the angry guy on the game, bro. I would always get too emotionally involved with the game.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah,
I get too emotionally involved in video games, sports, movies, discussions, and that's probably part of the reason why I'm so quiet now because I just get too emotionally like involved. So I've been pretty quiet and to myself for the past few years now, and I haven't had to, lash out anytime.
for sure. What would you attribute to like you having this like deep sense of wisdom at like such a young age? Would you think it's just all the experiences and being able to reflect on them, or is it just going through the things? Because I feel like you reflect a lot on the
I think
things you go through.
it's a combination of both. You have to be able to endure through struggle, but while you endure that, like as you're enduring, you have to be able to take away from it. You have to be able to understand why you're going through something, right? So like
Yeah.
a great example is a breakup. And if multiple breakups happen, like ongoing, now you have to sit back. It's like, okay, I'm dealing with all these breakups, but why do I keep getting broken up with? So then you start backtracking, looking at like, why did this argument happen? Why did she get on me for this? Like, why did I get on her for that? And you start, making like these mental lists of like what went wrong while you're still going through, the motions of like whatever pain you're going through. And I think for me, my family kind of like taught me how to do that at a pretty young age. Um, I remember I tell this story all the time, but I remember I was in New Mexico. This is where I was staying at the time, and it was me, my mom, and my sister at home, and we were on Skype with my dad, and he was deployed. I don't remember where exactly. I want to say Afghanistan, but I might be wrong. But for the sake of the story, we'll just go with that. But anyways, we're on Skype with him, and I haven't seen him in like 6 months. And I remember talking, 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 and then like the call just drops. So me, my mom, my sister, we're all just sitting there, very confused as to what's going on. My sister starts like tearing up. I mean, she's little at this time, and a couple hours goes by, and I kind of like understood what was kind of going on. I had Black Ops 2 at that time, so playing the campaign, you kind of understand what's going on.
Hmm.
So like that's kind of like what's going through my head. And my dad calls back, cool and calm as ever. He's like, "Yeah, Mordor strike hit." And I was like, "Oh,
Oh.
that's interesting cuz it's like, yes, he called back, but in that moment in which that he did not call back, I had already understood what had happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it had already processed for me. So my next plan of action was like, what do I do next? Because like, mind you, I'm just a kid at this time, so this is just my level of thinking. So I'm like, damn, my dad is AFK, and now I'm the only guy in the house. I'm like 10, bro. I can't go to work. What am I gonna do? So I'm like trying to
Yeah.
figure like, and that's where it really got started for me. Like moments like that, like, what am I gonna do next? Because something just happened. What can I do? So that's where it really came from at first, and then as I like went about life, like you just learn a lot of shit if you just live, like just truly just live and just go about every day in the present moment. You learn a lot, and I learned a lot within the relationships that I was in. But as we just said, like with video games, I get too emotionally invested. In relationships, I get too emotionally invested too. So it's like I tend to overthink, and my kind of overthinking isn't like the typical overthinking where it's like creating scenarios about all these endless possibilities of what could have happened and like that whole story. For
Yeah.
me, my overthinking, especially when it came to relationships, it never came like my overthinking was never for them. It was more so about me. Cuz like an argument would happen. And, most people when they start to overthink, they're like, "Damn, what did I do? Like, what could I do different?" Like stuff like that. For me, it's like, oh damn, where do I go from here? Like, I'm not even thinking like in regards to relationship anymore. I'm thinking in regards to like my own peace as a person. But like I said before, I get really emotionally invested. So that logical thinking of that logical overthinking, quote unquote, that I had gets outweighed by my emotions, and I end up acting on impulse. So like that's how I ended up staying in like these prolonged relationships, even though they were done after like 3 months. But I was young and I was dumb, and I think now that I've like learned a lot after everything that I've been through. I think every day, like I just like automatically just take a reflection of the day. And that's just how it's been for like the past year or two. I don't know, I'm getting old, but that's
Not
just
that old, bro.
I don't know, that's just how it's been. Like I spend a lot of time in thought and I think about every possible thing. But then it gets to a point where like I tried to think about everything and that everything ended up turning into just one, and that one just turned into me. So it's like now I only really think I only really overthink when it comes to my own success and everything like that. Like I don't really overthink relationships and stuff like that no more. It's just there's no point for me trying to do that. But when it comes to my career and my lifestyle and wanting to improve upon myself, like that's when I tend to overthink the most. But to answer your question, because I don't think I even answered the question. Um, yeah, it's a combination of both of going through it and reflection. Kind
For
of went on a
sure.
tangent right there. Sorry.
It's okay, bro. That's the whole point of this podcast.
Yeah.
I want to ask, bro, do you like this is like I think one of my last questions and then I have one more, but do you ever find it hard to be present because of your overthinking tendencies? Because for example, like my brother's kind of like that. He'll find it hard to be present cuz he's kind of an overthinker. Or
hmm
are you able to kind of switch it on and off when you need it? Like when you're alone, you're thinking about things and then when you're with people, you're able to remain present.
So for me, like, okay, yeah, I can turn it on and off pretty well. Uh,
That's powerful.
Thank you. No one's ever really said that to me, but like when I'm hanging out with like my friends. Okay, so I have this necklace, and on this pendant is my mom's name. So like when I'm out in public and everything like that, and this necklace my dad got for my mom while they were overseas in the military, and then she just gave it to me. So I wear it all the time. And since then, uh, when I'm hanging out with my friends and like let's say I don't know, someone comes to me with beef or whatever, I don't know.
Mhm.
A moment like that, especially when I'm hanging out with my friends, will cause me to overthink because now it's like, okay, why is this person texting me this while I'm hanging out with my friends? And how am I going to hide the fact that whatever this person just texted me irritated me? And how can I hide that without setting off the current vibe of the group, you know?
Mhm.
So in a moment like that, I turn it off. No, I'll turn it off. I'll just like, I grab onto this pendant, and then next thing you know, I'm just here. Like, I'll take a couple deep breaths, and then I'm just back present. Like, but when I get back home, or if like I get a moment to myself, then it just turns back on. Cause like basically what I do is like if I come across a thought that's starting to raise my anxiety, bring me some stress, I just put it off for later. To where later in the sense like when I'm in a position to where I can think about this and not feel negative about it, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
like a lot of times, like finances, I financially I'm set, I'm fine. But like there's moments where it's like, damn, I have no money. But there's nothing I can like. There's nothing in that moment that I can really do about it. Like I just don't have money. So instead of stressing like, oh man, how the fuck am I gonna get paid? Like this, that, and third. No, I save it for another moment where I can actually attack that, because in that moment it's getting my emotions involved. And when I feel my emotions starting to get involved in a decision being made, then there's no point in me trying to make that decision because logic goes out the window. Now it's just
That's
straight
true.
emotion. So
Yeah.
a lot of times I try to, that's the better way of me saying it. The only time that I'll turn off my overthinking is when my emotions start to get involved. But if I can keep a logical mind while I'm overthinking, even though I shouldn't be overthinking, at the end of the day, overthinking, you shouldn't be doing it. Like it's just gonna, it's just not good. But in the logical sense of me overthinking, I'm fine. But as soon as like it elicits like an emotional reaction, then I'll save it for another time. But that's just kind of like how I do it. I don't really know how I do it. I think it kind of just happened over the years and it just became like a thing. But yeah, that's just how I tackle and deal with my overthinking. I'm I can just turn it off here and there. But there are moments where it's like I can't. Like sometimes a
Yeah.
thought will just be too strong and I'll just have to sit there and deal with it. So yeah. But for your brother, one thing that helped with my overthinking is you have to remind yourself that you can replace one thought with another. So if he finds himself overthinking, right? Let's say like he got a bad test on a grader, like a bad grade on a test. I said that all bad grades. But let's say that happened and he's stressed and everything like that. But if he reminds himself of all the good grades that he had, like if this was the one time he failed and he's just overthinking it like crazy, he's got to remind himself of all the other tests that he's done really, really well at. And you have to remind yourself, like, although this happened, you have the strength and the choice to make sure it doesn't happen again. So it's like, yeah, he failed. Oh, I'm stressed. I failed. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, wait. It was just one test. I've passed every other test, and the school year's still going. You see what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you just have to rewire your thinking to counteract that negative overthinking. So you always
Yeah.
want to replace a negative with a positive, especially when it comes to thought. That's what I've learned so far. And every day I'm still trying to learn more and more and more about the brain. I probably should have went to school for psychology, but didn't.
Yeah, because even I was gonna say, bro, the reason why I said it's powerful that you're kind of able to switch it on and off is because even I find myself, I used to do this more in the past, not so much now. But when I
Hmm.
would be in a really bad mood or thinking about something a lot, I couldn't bring myself to go hang out with family, go hang out with friends. I would like call it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for example, I plan to hang out with my friends Thursday, and then up until Thursday, it was supposed to happen. But then Thursday, I get that overthinking. I start stressing about something, and I can't bring myself to go out because
Hmm.
it's so hard for me to kind of hide that in those moments. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Um, I felt like that all the time. Funny enough that you said that. The way you described that is literally how I felt before I met up with controlled insanity for the very first time. I was supposed to, so Kev reached out to me around, this was like 2023. I was just about to do a show, and he reached out to me. He wanted me to bring me on as an athlete and everything like that. Then they had their first like meet and greet, or not meet and greet, meetup uh that January, and I didn't go because of like that anxiety that came with the overthinking. Because I was just with a brand beforehand that like didn't do so well towards the end, and I was still kind of shook up from that. And I had like this little sense of doubt when it came to working with other brands, because the very first brand I ever worked with kind of like fell apart. So now I have like this doubt with every other brand, because like I don't want it to seem like I'm the problem and like I'm the reason why like everything's falling apart. So I didn't go to the first meetup because of that, because I was overthinking so much, because I was like, dude, what if like this doesn't work the way like he said it would, like what, like all these like what ifs. But then, he invited me out for a second one. Those thoughts started going again, going again. And then I don't know what happened. I think I just took a shot in the dark, and now here I am. Like, actually, honestly, if I didn't decide to go out and meet up with Kevin, everything like that, I don't think I'd be in this position at all. Um, I do like to pay homage and give respect to those that have you know got me to certain points in my life, and I'll give my respect, and I'll give him his flowers to Kev when he reached out to me because it was like a very crucial point in my life. Like I was going through this crazy like girl situation. Um, I was literally deep in prep for a show. Like so much was going on, and I just needed like just something to hang on to,
Yeah.
just to stay afloat. And that's when Kev came around, and yeah, now I'm here. So when you feel those moments of overthinking and like anxiety of trying to take on this path, honestly, you just gotta just go for it. You just gotta just go for it. Life's all about taking risks. Some of the most successful people were some of the biggest risk takers. So I mean, at some point, you gotta just keep walking. Just put your hand in
Yeah.
your pocket and just keep walking.
It's like having the mind frame of kind of what you experienced is if you don't go to that thing, that could be that life-changing opportunity you've been hoping for, and
Yeah,
then you'll miss out on it. So if you kind of hold that perspective, I guess you'll never make that mistake of missing out.
right. Because I feel like a lot of people miss out on really great opportunities that they've been wanting on, but because of like their own self doubt and self hatred and like all these like negative things, it prevents them from taking those risks out of just pure fear. Um,
Hmm.
the one thing, like, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm not scared of anything, but in the sense of life, I'm really not. Like, there's nothing for me to be scared of anymore. I mean, obviously, like if a fucking tarantula just popped up out of nowhere, I might scream like a little bitch. I'm not gonna lie, but it's gonna die. Like I'm still gonna get it done. That's just kind of like how you have to do it. Like that's how you got to look at life. Like, yeah, what I'm about to do is fucking scary, and I'm probably gonna shit myself, but I gotta do it because there's this very like although it's very slim, like the chances of something miraculous like just happening is very slim, but I like taking those chances. So it's like
Yeah.
if I kill this tarantula right now while I'm recording and I post it on TikTok and now I have 2 million followers and a tarantula exterminating business, like come on. Like that's just
Yeah.
how
I
that's
love
really
that analogy.
yeah, it's like that's literally how life works. Like all it takes is just one small moment. And for me, all it took was one video, and now I'm here. So for anybody, all it could really take is just one thing, like just one moment for everything to just flip. And yeah, that's just how I see it, and that's just how I think a lot of people should look at life. And when you look at it like that, I think it eliminates a lot of the fear that we have when it comes to chasing our dreams and goals. Because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, if I tell you like no matter what, you absolutely have to do this task if you want to achieve your dream. But this task absolutely scares the shit out of you. But your dream is on the other side of that. You're gonna do it. You're gonna
Exactly.
do it.
The only reason why people don't do it is because that certainty is not there, and that's
Yeah.
where having hope and having faith is what's going to guide you.
And you want to know something crazy? That uncertainty doesn't really even develop within that person themselves. It develops with the people that they're surrounded by. That's where that
Yeah.
self doubt comes from. And this is why people can't chase their dreams because they surround themselves with who they think are friends and who they think are real. But really, you're just surrounding yourself with people that aren't on the same minds. Like, they don't have the same mindset for life when it comes to certain things. But you do. And they're envious and jealous of that. So instead of supporting you for your dreams, they'll try to avert you off your path and try and put you somewhere else. Like, no, I don't really think that you know, you should try and be a Formula One driver. I think you'd be better off as just a regular mechanic. No,
Exactly.
I don't. If I don't want to be a fucking mechanic, I'm not gonna be a mechanic. If I said I wanted to be a Formula One racer, then let me be a Formula One racer. Now, if I keep fucking up on that path, let it be. But I'm gonna keep trying because at the end of the day, if someone's trying for their dream, you really can't get mad at that. You can't get mad at
Yeah,
that.
you can't hate on that.
Mm-mm. Obviously, there's limitations to like, there's some sick people in this world. So there's like moral limitations for certain things. But when it comes to just the average guy, the average girl, just trying to just figure life out, you gotta just do it. You just gotta just take that risk, do what you gotta do, because if you don't, there's gonna be someone else that will take that risk and then be in the position that you wanted to be in. So
Yeah. And then that's when you have resentment towards those people because you're like, oh, look at them. They have exactly what I want. But you never even took the risk in the first place. So you can't blame that person.
exactly, exactly. But yeah, life is definitely something interesting. I don't know what life is yet, but it's definitely something interesting. That's the most that I could say.
For sure. All right, bro. I'm going to ask you the last question of the podcast and then we'll close out. I ask this
All right.
question to every single person that is on, and that is Cam, how do you want to be remembered?
Oh man, that's a good question. Holy shit. Hmm. Hmm. Who do I want to be remembered by? Like, how do I want to be remembered? I want to be remembered as a man who gave it all. Like, I want to be remembered in the aspect, like, I want people to. One thing I pride myself on when I meet people is leaving a positive impact on someone. And I try my best to do that every single time. If there's a moment where I'm to leave this earth and, like, there's something that I want to be remembered for, it's definitely, yeah, the man who gave it all. Like, I gave everything I could to this. Um, Not only to like the sport of bodybuilding, but I gave everything all, like my all to, my family, social media, my own work, my friends, just all that. Like I gave everything I had. That's all I would want people to remember me as, like the man who gave everything. That sounds so, I don't know, it sounds cool in my head, but I guess like I don't know, TikTokers, like chronically, like the chronically like online ones, they'd probably call me corny for that, but I don't mind being corny. But yeah, I'd love to be the guy that gave it all, like just all out effort, with everything that he did. If people remembered me as that, dude, I would. Oh, I'd be so happy. Like wherever I'd end up, I would just be happy. Like I don't know. I've always had this dream of just leaving a positive impact on the world. That's all I really thought about since I could even dream. Is just because like I've always grown up watching superheroes, watching like just heroes in general. Like you watch military movies, you can watch superhero movies, you watch these action movies. Like there's always a hero, and
Yeah.
they're always well received. I've always wanted to be that, but like in reality, and but it was fucked up because like I'm antisocial and I don't really like being out in public. So it's like, how are you supposed to be somebody like that and you can't even be in the public eye? But
Yeah.
but yeah, I've always just, yeah, the man who gave it all. That's for sure. I want to be remembered.
Great answer, bro.
Thank you.
All right, man. I'm going to close it out here. Is there anything you want to say before I close it out?
No, sir. I'm good.
All right, awesome. So if you could stay a little bit after we close out the pod, I want to ask you some questions. But to
Sure.
everyone listening, thank you for tuning into the podcast and making it this far. Thank you, Cam, for doing the podcast. This has been an amazing episode, and maybe we do a part two in the future.
I'd be down for a part two, man. Thank you for having me on here.
For sure. So to everyone listening, thank you, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.